it's not so fun when you're getting battered 4-5-0 every single week. And there was only probably a handful of games I could say last season that Spurs actually played well for a full 90 minutes. Ivan Toney, who is out of contract next summer, I mean, this is your time to pounce on getting Ivan Toney. I need us to win a trophy. Hi guys, and welcome back to DR Sports. I'm going to be talking to you about 5 things that I want to see change at Tottenham Hotspur next season. And I'm going to start, it's not necessarily with the style of play, but we're going to start with the defence, because that's no secret. Spurs were not great defensively last season after the first 10 games. And we all know that the first 10 games doesn't win you a league. Of course, we had injuries, but actually we looked worse as the season went on defensively. And maybe that is down to the style of play. We all know that Ange is super attacking, gung-ho football, and we love that. But at the same time, there is an element of needing to be defensively solid and sound. So for me, we signed Dragusin in the January. He had a really good tournament at the Euros. We didn't really get to see too much of him in the Premier League last season either. He wasn't really picked even when we had injuries. So I'd like to see him potentially come in to a little back three with Mickey van der Ven and Romero, because I think we've got great defenders there. Obviously, our fullbacks, again, have been brilliant, you know, Destiny Udogie and Pedro Porro. So strange that obviously Porro wasn't even included in that Spanish side that obviously went on and won the Euros. It's crazy to me. And as weird as it sounds, defensively, I wouldn't change my defence despite conceding so many goals last season. I think we've got a really good set of players there, especially moving forward as well and on the attack. I think they're great, especially with the fullbacks. But we have to cut out this conceding 3-4 goals a game. You know, we all like Bielsa's style of football, similar to Ange, but when you're not scoring 5 and outscoring the amount that you're conceding, that is where the problem lies. And that was obviously ultimately where Tottenham were failing last year. You know, you can have a great defence, but if it's not all adding up and you're playing such a high line that if Mickey's not there in the team, you can't recover, or even if he is there, you're putting so much emphasis on him. And obviously that's where it leads to injuries. You know, we saw him have hamstring injuries as well as the season went on. So my biggest thing is the defence, which ties into the style of play, which is my number 2. So defensively, we need to be more solid. You can play attacking, sexy football, but also have a plan B, and that's where we come on to Ange. I really like Ange Postecoglou. I think his breath of fresh air to the Premier League. I think he kind of took everyone by surprise. You know, he wasn't Tottenham's first choice of manager. I think he was like 8th choice, but that's fine. You know, he came with a good record, especially at Celtic. You know, Celtic fans spoke super high of him as well. Same with, you know, previous clubs he'd managed in Australia and the J League too. Premier League is totally different. And we knew the style of play he was going to set up with. We didn't necessarily know he was going to do the exact same style that he implemented in Scotland, but he did. And that showed a lot of bravery. And I think that's what won fans, you know, kind of over quite quickly, and the media too. But as the season went on, we did see cracks in kind of that all-out attacking football mentality, because every opponent you're playing each and every week is different, and that is the point of being a tactically astute manager and knowing when to be all out attacking, knowing when to just sit back and be a little bit tighter, and just in-game management. And I think that, you know, we like the fact that he's going to live and die on that hill with playing that type of football. But at the same time, it's not so fun when you're getting battered 4-5-0 every single week. Like, there comes a point where it's not so fun anymore. In terms of the style of play, I want to see that attacking football. That's what we love as Spurs fans. You know, we said it under Conte and Jose. We were deprived of it for years, and that's not what we want. We want to see this Spurs way of playing, the all-out attacking football. But we need our manager to also have a plan B. And I'm hoping that, you know, this summer, and after seeing how the back end of last season went, that something might have changed. We don't want to see too much of a change on the attacking side, but we want to make sure that we're not going down that same route where we're getting caught out every time teams have worked us out and, you know, they know how to play against us. Another thing that I want to see changing is us going 1-0 down or going 1-0 up and then sitting back. I don't want us to be in that style of play where we go 1-0 down and then we then start playing for 20 minutes to get ourselves back in the game. I don't want to do that. And we had so many late winners last season that I think, again, Ange maybe got away with some things of how we were playing because we were getting these late winners, and we love that. Who doesn't love a late winner? But I want to see us actually go out and dominate a performance for 90 minutes, or as close to 90 minutes as you can. And there was only probably a handful of games, I could say, last season that Spurs actually played well for a full 90 minutes. Of course, I appreciate there's fatigue and players that have come off the back of, I guess, the Euros as well, or Copa America. There's going to be fatigue as the season gets on. But I just want to see us dominate games, I don't want to see us go 1-0 down or go 1-0 up and then take our foot off the gas and invite teams back onto us. I think there were too many games where we struggled in too many longer periods during those games, even though we might have got the result. So again, I just want to see more consistency with us, and just maybe a bit more grit and a stronger, tougher underbelly, which I'd hope I would see this season, as Ange is obviously implementing what he wants and his players kind of into this squad, rather than inheriting players that he would have got from previous managers. This is a big summer and a big transfer window as well, which segues me onto my next point, which is, of course, the transfer window. Since, selling Harry Kane, you've lost a striker that is going to get you 30 goals a season, guaranteed. Of course, that baton has then passed to Son, who is ageing. Of course, he's still a great player, been an unbelievable servant to the club, but he is ageing. We need to start thinking of life, maybe at some point without Son in the next couple of years. Richarlison, again, love the work rate, love the effort, but let's be real, he's probably not up to the standard of quality that we would like to see at Tottenham leading the line. I look at the market and I look at Ivan Toney, and yes, he's been linked with pretty much most clubs going, whether that be Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool. Especially last January, he was really touting himself out to everyone that would listen when he was coming back off that ban. And I don't particularly love the way that he dealt with things at Brentford. I found it a little bit disrespectful, but we have to move on, and football is a fickle sport. And I think as a signing for Tottenham, he would be perfect. The way that he can hold the ball up and bring players into the game as well. And our use of wingers is obviously very important in this Ange side. Ivan Toney, who is out of contract next summer, this is your time to pounce on getting Ivan Toney. This is a player that can get you probably 20 goals a season. And that is huge. Having another striker that is guaranteed, Premier League proven, week in, week out. He's a decent age. I think this is the type of player that you need to go for this window. You might be able to get him Tottenham at a decent enough price, because of the fact Brentford aren't going to want this to roll on to January, where people are making silly bids and they're going to get, under offers because he's out of contract 6 months later. If Brentford are going to cash in on Ivan Toney, which looks like they're happy to do, this is the time to do it. And I reckon you could get him for a fairly reasonable price, maybe between 50 and 60 mil. And that would be perfect for Spurs. He'd be unbelievable. Another player I would love to have, and I don't know if we'll be able to get, I don't think we'll be able to get both, would be Eze of Crystal Palace. I know that they might not be so keen to let him go. They let Elise go. And of course, he's still in contract till 2027. But we were heavily linked with him, throughout the season. And I think he'd also be absolutely perfect for us. Again, we've got quite a few left wingers, but I think as a player who's progressive, strong, carries the ball forward, has, contribute with goals as well, I think he'd be perfect. And those two would be my two signings. And I think that would be such a credit to Spurs if they could go and get these two, and it would really show that Spurs are moving in the right direction and they're a serious club. And signing Archie Gray has been great. I think he's a really good, talented player, and I look forward to seeing him more this season. Leeds fans have absolutely sung his praises massively, and what I've seen of him in pre-season, he's been playing at centre back, which is obviously not his natural position, but he is versatile, I guess, which is good. But I'm looking forward to seeing what he can bring to the team. We are also linked with Jacob Ramsey, with Giovanni Lo Celso going in the opposite way to Aston Villa, and money on top of it. We look like we're in the market for young and English, so I guess Eze, Toney would also fit that mould. And last but not least, the one thing Spurs need to do this season more than anything is win a trophy. And I know that we all say that top four can sometimes be everything, but it's not. You don't get a trophy finishing top four. You don't get a certificate for it. You just get some money for it, which sometimes we don't even see get spent. So I need us to win a trophy. It's been 15, 16, 17, I've lost count now, how many years that we've waited win another trophy. Yes, we've been in a Champions League final somehow. Yes, we've made it to this final or this semi-final, etc. We haven't won anything. We need to win a trophy. It's the most important thing. And top four is important. Yeah, sure. We all want to be on the biggest stage with attracting the biggest players and, competing. But let's be realistic. The Europa League is much more fitting for Spurs and where they are at this point. Try and win a Europa League. Try and win a Carabao Cup, an FA Cup, a Premier League. Just let's focus on trying to win a trophy, because that, honestly, at the end of the day, when you're telling your kids, your grandkids about what you saw in life, you're going to talk about the trophies that you saw your team win, not about how many times that we finished top four. And for me, that is the most important thing. And I hope and I pray that this season is the season where we finally break that curse and that deadlock. And I don't care what trophy it is. Would I love to see us win the Europa League? Absolutely. But would I equally be happy just to see us win a Carabao Cup? Absolutely. Because we have to get the duck off the back. We need to do something. And I really hope that this is the season. All my eggs are in that basket, that we need to win a trophy more than anything else. So there are my 5 things that I hope will happen for Spurs this season. Let's see. Let's see if I'm right. We can keep the receipt and run this back next August.